Hello students. So today we'll learn about practical number 2A, that is using request dispatcher. So what is the practical? Using this request dispatcher interface, create a servlet which will validate the password entered by the user. If the user has entered servlet as password, then we will forward the welcome page, else the user will stay on the index.html page and an error message will be displayed. So what we have to do over here is we have to create a request dispatcher. But how? We have to create a servlet first and we have to create a login, and if the login password is equal to the servlet, right? If the login password is equal to the servlet, then what we have to do? Then we have to forward a request to the welcome servlet, or we have to stay on the index.html page. So before moving ahead, let's understand what is request dispatcher. So what do we mean by dispatch? Means to move from one source to another source, right? So what is the meaning of it? So request dispatcher interface provides the facility of dispatching the request to another resource. It may be HTML, servlet, or JSP. So what are we doing is we are dispatching our request from one source to another source, right? Whether it could be HTML, servlet, or JSP, right? So moving from one source to destination, one source to another source, or from the source to the destination. So there are two types of request dispatcher. First is the include and second is the forward. So let's understand what is include first. So includes the content of a resource in a response. So what we are doing over here is, what include does is over here that it includes the content of another resource into my file, right? So the another resource could be servlet, it could be JSP, or it could be HTML content. Any of the content can be included in my content. Now that content can be a servlet or a JSP. So within a servlet or a JSP, we can include a servlet file, a JSP file, or an HTML file, right? Whereas now let's talk about forward. So what does forward do is, forward will request our forward request the request which is being made from a servlet to another servlet on the server, right? So what it will do is, if I have one servlet, right, it will forward my request to another servlet, right? So from servlet 1 it will go to servlet 2, right? So it will forward my request of this servlet to this servlet. Okay? So we have understood the meaning of this. Now let's move. So we have understood the meaning of this. So now let's jump to the code. So we are back with our code. So we are back with our code. So what we will do is, we'll create a new project, web application, and here we'll rename it as practical 2A. Next, Glassfish server will be as it is, and last, don't select any frameworks and click on finish. So now our project is created, right? So what we have to do here is, we will rename the title as login form, delete my content, right? What we will do over here is, we will create one servlet which will accept our response, that is login servlet. Next, add deployment to descriptor and finish. So what it will do is, we have created one servlet for our on click login action perform. So we'll go to index now. Here we'll create one form tag. Inside the form tag, our method will be post and action will be the servlet which we created just now, that is login servlet, right? Inside that, we'll write enter username, we'll write input type is equal to text, name is equal to user ID, right? Now we'll have one br tag, so that after that we'll write enter password, input type will be password, so it is not visible to anyone. So here we'll write password and BR type. After that, we have to create one button. So input type is equal to submit, name is equal to button submit, and value will be login. So here we have created our login page. Now let's move to our servlet page. So what we are doing till now is we will delete our whole code here. We'll write our own code, that is public void do post http servlet request http servlet response throws servlet exception IO exception. Now let's start our code. So what will be the first step is response dot set content type. Our content type it's HTML character set is equal to UTF-8. Now next will be print writer response dot get writer. So we are done with one part. Now what is the next part is we have to get the user ID. So request dot get parameter user ID. Second was password. So we'll write upass is equal to request dot get parameter user password. Now we'll check whether the login is valid or not. So here we'll write username as admin and upass, that the password would be equal to servlet as stated in the condition. If it is not, then we have to show something else from the else part. So if it is true, then what we have to do is we have to move to another servlet. So for that we have to create one more servlet over here, right? And we'll term it as welcome servlet. Same package, add to deployment descriptor and finish. So here our new servlet is created. We'll not delete the whole code, but just we'll delete this much, right? So what our next step is over here is request dispatcher. Request dispatcher is equal to request but get dispatch request dispatcher. What we have to do over here is we have to call the welcome servlet. So here what it will do is it will forward my request to request dispatcher. So here we have to include request dispatcher. Okay. Now after that what we'll do is request dot forward request and the response, which is default. If my login is not valid, then what we have to do? So we have to do is request dispatcher is equal to request dot get request dispatcher, and here we have to call the index.html file. So what we will do over here is we will write out.println. We'll create one body tag which will give the background color as red or yellow, whatever we want to give. Here at the bottom we will close that body tag. Right? And in between what we will do is we will include this file. What will use rd request dispatcher dot include. So it will include my this file, and what else I have to do is I have to print one statement stating that the login is failed. So here we'll write h1 tag, and we'll write login failed. So it will display on the screen. What it will do is here we have got the request of the index.html file, then we'll print this file, and then we will include this file over here. Now come to welcome servlet. So once the user is already logged in, so what we will do is servlet welcome servlet will keep this as it is. Here we will change the content in between. Here we'll write welcome to the world of servlet. Right, so we are done with our part. So what we have done is we have created one login form. So the action of the login form is my login servlet. In the login servlet, we are getting both the parameters user ID and password. If the password equals to servlet, then what we have done is we have included one request dispatcher, right? And request dispatcher, we have given parameter as welcome servlet. That is our new file. So it will forward our request dispatcher to welcome servlet. If the username is not, if the user password is not servlet, then what we have done is we have created one body tag. Inside the body tag, we have given the background color as yellow. And after that, we have included the HTML file, index.html file, printed login field, and then we have included our index.html file. So now let's run our program and check the output of it. So our browser has started. First, we'll write the wrong ones. Admin. So see, login failed, background color yellow as stated in my false part where the user password doesn't match with servlet. Now what about if my user password gets matched? So here what we have seen is welcome to the world of servlet. So this we have forwarded our request to welcome.servlet. Welcome servlet fine. Right. So this all from this practical. See you next time. If you are liking the video, if you are able to enjoy, then like, share and subscribe.